Welcome to the 5-2 show with the two Joes. This week we got somebody really cool. My man Dylan from Cards with a Story. If you haven't seen his Twitter handle, I mean, every Wednesday, his vintage thread is must see. He has everybody's on there. I mean, if you want a vintage thread and you don't know about it yet, baseball cards. I mean, just go to Cards with the Stories page every Wednesday. But beside that, what's really cool is, a lot of vintage collectors that I see, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, you're in your 20s. You know what I'm saying? Me and Joel talk about like this dude is ill. Like he's a young dude, but he's so into vintage. Like, how did all that come about? Like, how did you fall in love with vintage?
Pretty much when I was younger, I started collecting when I was like 6, so about 2001. My dad gave me a bunch of, probably like a handful of 1980s tops, which at the time, 6 years old, 8 years old, I thought it was the oldest card in the world. I was like, this shit's cool. At the time, you think it's way older than it is, and over time, been collecting. Took like a 2-year break when I was in college and high school, late in high school. Then but no, always had that passion, always had the collectibles, never sold anything. When I got back from college and shit, started working and got right back into it more than ever. And I always felt more that attachment to the older cards, the artwork, story behind it. And newer cards really don't do it for me anymore. So
you sound like Joe, right? You always talk about like the background, right, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, you posted a Gaudi, I think, yesterday that I saw. Big thing for me is the backgrounds on especially vintage cards. But what you said is interesting because I started off with stickers or whatever. I got some packs, but the first time I saw like an older card, it was something about it. I was locked in. I mean, I bought some of the cards from my LCS when I was a kid, like Johnny Bench rookie, a 69 Hank Aaron, some beat up mantles. But when I first saw those cards, I was just like, wow, like nothing can so much cooler than like at the time 84 tops were like going after at that time. So yeah, it's cool, man, and it's just cool to see people like I always believe that there'll be like even a kid who's like 10 years old somewhere who's all about vintage, doesn't care about new cards.
I like to think they're out there.
Yeah. So that's very cool, man. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Any sets in particular that you like more than others? Vintage sets?
I was just gonna ask him the same question.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite set ever is the 33 DeLong set.
Nice.
Which I don't know. This is probably one of my favorite cards in my collection. This is the Jimmy Fox from that set.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that set, but first time I laid my eyes on that set, probably 4 or 5 years ago, that was one of those where I was like, well, I need to own at least 2 or 3 cards from that set and hopefully work my way up towards the Hall of Famers and stuff. So
way ahead of its time, right? I mean, just that card is just, I mean, think of it, it's about 100 years old, almost 90 years old. I mean,
old, the black and white picture over the colored stadium. I don't know. And the bios on the back, I don't know if you ever got into those, but those are always they were really well done. Some of them were like hitting tips and fielding tips. Some of them would have really good bios. And, yeah, that was always that one pretty much quickly shot up my list of favorite sets there. Diamond Stars, 35 Diamond Stars. Probably my second. This is where it gets weird. After those two, it's like I have about 4 sets I could put up there. 53 Tops has been growing on me more than ever. Something about that set, I don't know why, but used to be all about 52 Tops, but I feel like the last few years that 53 kind of put that a notch ahead of it due to the artwork and the backgrounds, the sunsets and that set, everything is just perfect. Stadium shots, all the Yankee Stadium shots in the background with the archways and
amazing.
That set's been growing on me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those 50, I was always a 51 Bowman guy. I mean, like I said, the colors. I mean, it's just. I don't even have expensive cards from that set. It doesn't even matter. It's just some of the cooler cards are the ones that are not even really worth. You know, like a $10 card, $20 card, but like just a beautiful. You know, it's just beautiful set.
Yeah, I had 51 and 52. I was collecting same thing, just no stars, but just the beautiful cards from that set. Sunsets, same thing as the other one. That was one of those I was going out of my way picking up cards for $5 on eBay once a week, twice a week. Then
Yep.
yeah, I'd say 50 through 52 Bowman. I don't really have a favorite between the three, but that whole group right there. Honestly, even in the 53 Bowman, the color set is
Oh yeah.
one of the best sets ever made.
Yeah, I love that. Like one of my favorite set, you know, I'm T206, one of my favorite sets, but the way I collect them is I literally buy the ones that have cool backgrounds. I swear. Like
No, I got it.
an action shot, and I don't care who it is. Like this card here, this is like one of the most beautiful cards I've ever seen in my life.
Without a doubt.
You know, and it's like, or just, you know what else I like from those sets is that, like you see, this is a George Hunter, like you see that weird thing in the background, like that old,
It's like a
it
circus.
looks like Coney Island kind of thing. Like those old death trap, fire trap stadiums, like the wooden stadiums that were a thing of the past, even like 5 years after the set was, you know, they got rid of those.
Yeah.
It's just cool to see that stuff, you know, like you don't see that modern baseball cards, like the crowd is all blurry.
Yeah.
And the players in perfect focus, like a movie shot. It's like,
Half
you know,
you don't even get those sunsets anymore or nothing.
no.
Four,
Early,
four fans behind
remember-
the plate, like you said, all blurred out.
Yeah.
It's just not the same.
Well, it's just the beauty of the past. You know, it's just like music. You know, sometimes, you know, you don't have to listen to new music and still be able to listen to beautiful music. You know, like
Exactly.
you know, like it doesn't matter. It's just like, yo, what you love is what you love. There's no. I always tell people that when people ask me about the hobby, like, what do you? There's no rules to the hobby. If you enjoy something and you enjoy a set, like you said, a 10-year-old could love a 51 Bowman, and you know maybe a 75-year-old loves a 2016 Tops. Hey, whatever you love, and that's the beauty of the hobby.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I'm big on yeah, I stay out of everyone's way. Whatever you collect. Hey, I'm not here to tell you what to collect.
Hey, I'm sorry, Joe. I know because it was on my mind. How did you start the thread? Was it just something one week that you just started doing and it grew, or was it something you wanted to do, or was it just kind of happened?
That was so I was noticing my whole timeline was flooded with sales threads, all modern. Nothing was moving, nothing ever sells half the time. I was seeing like 4 a day, and it was getting old and sitting around. I was growing my followers at the time, and I one day I was like, I don't ever see any vintage threads for. I think I seen like one that would float around. Never seemed like it caught on much. So I said, I think I put a tweet out who would be interested, and I think I instantly got like 30 replies, like that's what we need, and posted it. I think the first one was sometime in June 2020, maybe 2021, I think, and then did pretty good for the first few weeks, nothing crazy, but then one day it just one of those things where I guess word got out, people started enjoying it, and before I knew it, I was getting 450 posts. I had weeks where there was $30,000 worth of cards sold in a night. It was insane.
Wow.
It peaked at one point where it was like every Wednesday there was 20 grand, 15 grand being spent there, and a couple of big time cards, Willie Mays rookies and stuff like that moving. So that was fun to see. And when I started seeing, the community kind of actually become excited for it and become, part of their weekly routine, it was that was cool. It was definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. A lot of fun. But yeah, it's really I just more or less the lack thereof of vintage thread. Really how it all started.
And the vouchers, I mean, you have a lot of the same people every week posting. It becomes a trust thing too, where eBay, at least with this, it's quick. You can look back and know somebody you bought from a few weeks ago. So, that's the great thing about it.
Yeah, exactly. And there's always going to be I've been blessed to where there hasn't been many scammers through the thread. They're always going to be around no matter what you do.
Oh, yeah.
I do my best to police it. You know, the big thing lately. So people, what I guess they people do is they watch the thread. They keep an eye on who's posting cards. Someone will make an account, use their profile picture, copy their bio, you know, retweet all that other person's tweet so it looks like they're tweeting it. And then they'll hop in there, and when someone claims a card, they'll sneak in real quick and reply like, you know, here's my PayPal. That's like the one that I've been noticing all throughout all different threads. And
That's sneaky. Retweeting somebody else's with the same names thing. Like if you don't look at it, you're gonna be like, oh, he retweeted his own thing.
yep. And what they'll do is they'll do the same at username, and they'll do the they'll put an I instead of an L. Like if it was baseball, it would be like BAILL, but it'll look like L's. So you think you're sending your money to this person, and they'll scam you, block you once they get your money and change to another account. But I've been pretty blessed with people catching them, and I caught a few last week. I caught 2 where I'll block them right away. This way they can't even access the thread. Luckily, I've avoided any big time scams, or that's the kind of stuff I worry about. I don't want falling back on me. I don't want, you know, tarnish my thread in any way. But I've been blessed where that hasn't happened, luckily, yet. Hopefully it stays that way. Yeah.
Hey, I always see you post dope cards, but is there a card out there that is like grail card for you, or you just kind of go with the flow, or is anything even now? Is there something that you're looking at now that you looking to get, or?
I want a Willie Mays rookie card more than anything. 51 Bowman. I don't know if I'll ever do it. They're going for the prices they're going for now. Ridiculous. And then sad to say, you always got to account for when he passes. There's a natural
Jump.
a natural jump in price whenever a legend like that passes. So
Yeah.
it's one of those where if I ever land one, it's going to require years of saving or a lot of selling.
A lot of side. Yeah.
Cards that I probably don't want to sell. So I've considered it, but then I look at the cards I'd have to sell, and I can't let them all go.
Yeah,
It's hard. People do that whole sell half their collection for one card thing. I respect it, but a lot of the stuff I collect, I'd like to do a lot of oddball stuff. It's cards you don't see as much, so I'm not always guaranteed they're gonna pop back up. So it's hard for me to sell off a lot of things, but that's the number one card that if I had to consider my grail would probably be the 51 Bowman Mays. But in terms of what I'm eyeing up, that's one of those that changes by the day. Like this I grabbed the other day off the last week off the thread. I've eyed it up before, I've seen it, but when I woke up that day, I didn't have any intentions of adding that card. Someone posted on the thread, and that was one of those where I was like, I need that card. And
what card is that? I couldn't see it. I'm sorry. I should actually put my glasses on.
sorry, I'm on my phone. So this is 1963 KTAV publications. So Jewish Sports Champions.
Crazy. Never seen that card before.
Never seen it. It's really cool.
In a 9, which I think I paid $260 for this, which is for Koufax PSA 9 from his playing day. It was a steal.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was looking at ones on eBay where they weren't sold, but people were asking over $1,000 for a 9. So, I mean, that's different than selling for $1,000, but I figured $260 flat tipped right out the door. I figured I can't pass that up before someone else grabs it before me.
Well, that's what I noticed about the thread is, there's a lot of, I bought like raw off the thread and graded, and I know I came off really good, so like there's a lot of, even not only the graded cards, I mean, people sell the prices sometimes on some raw cards are really good, from the right guys, you kind of gravitate to some of the right guys that always have good prices. But I mean, I bought this Bowman, the Rizzuto. I graded that came out. I mean, I bought a few cards from that, price wise, when you look at, all right, if you spend $20 to grade it, $22 and what you paid, I mean, you're up a few hundred already easy if you wanted to flip.
Yeah, that's one thing where I'm always like, I've come up on a lot of cards like that unintentionally, and I'm like, well, I should flip more, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah. No, but at least you feel good in terms of like, all right, even from not selling that card, I did well on the deal. You know what I'm saying? So that
No, I can get my
um
money. That's the other thing. If I buy a card like that, I like to make sure, God forbid, I want to sell it, have to sell it. It's something I know I'm going to get minimum what I paid back.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, a lot of the cards I have sold in the last few years, I bought, like 2-3 years, and there's cards I've made hundreds of dollars on that. I didn't mean to, but the market fluctuates into a way where you get that perfect timing where you're in the time to sell. And actually, I think one of those, I was real into tickets for a while, ticket stubs. And I got it was a 1951 Game 1 World Series ticket, which is Mays and Aaron's World Series debut. I think I paid like $120 on eBay and flipped it for like $750 or something. Like a year later. When I bought it, I was like, this seems way too cheap. That's one of those, they don't pop up often. It was some lady selling it on eBay. I don't think she was a dealer or anything. I think she might have found it, and that was one of those. I was like, that'll go up in value.
Yeah, certain things you don't realize. I mean, I collect a lot of Phil Rizzuto stuff. So like I was on eBay one day and they had a ticket. It was a little beat up. I bought it raw, but it was like $30. But not only was it Tom Seaver's 300th win, it was the day they retired for Rizzuto's number. And for like $30 for a ticket like that, I know it's in the 80s, but a Hall of Fame legend, you know what I'm saying? And then it's Phil's retirement day. So it's like, sometimes you come across and people maybe they didn't even know that was like for Rizzuto's retirement day. So, but just, tickets, some people, have them at ridiculous prices, but there's a lot of deals on them too. I think people just don't know what they're worth.
Yeah, the market's gone up on them the last 2 years, but they're still reasonable. And if I am in the market to where I'm looking for one, I'll scroll eBay and I'll look for those. If there's a ticket I think I like, I'll look up the date, I'll look up the game, the stats, who played that day, who did what, stuff like you find ticket for $8 and for all you know, Hank Aaron hit a home run that day, or Willie Mays hit a homer, or Koufax pitched 8 innings, and it's like for $8, I'll take it.
Yep.
That's always something I'll do when I'm looking at tickets. I like to research the game and learn a little bit about it before I buy it.
Cool. Yeah, tickets are undervalued. I got in a PSA slab when Barry Bonds hit number 73. I got it for like $100. I was like, this is a crazy thing. Even that thing just will trigger people too. Like, it's like a piece of art. I say this to Joe. But for baseball people, that's like a controversial thing. It's like, wait, you have 73, So, but yeah, they're undervalued, I think. There's so many cool events, cool days that have happened in baseball. I just found a bunch of tickets from when I was a kid that my mom gave me. And I was thinking the same thing, looking up the game, see if anything cool happened. I know there was a game I went to when the Mets played the Reds where there was a ridiculous fight. But I mean, I don't know if PSA would, who knows?
There's things that's something I never graded a ticket, but I always wondered if you could get whatever you want put on there in terms of.
So I'm going to tell you right now, since I collect Rizzuto, I had a ticket that I asked them to put. Actually, it's right here. This is Rizzuto. This was Rizzuto's. This was opening day. His first game in Yankee Stadium. First.
Yeah, that's awesome, Joe. That's ridiculous.
I got this for like $120 on eBay. Now I bought this raw, and when I graded, I asked them to put Rizzuto's first game, and they put it on it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's a steal too.
Yeah, like I couldn't even believe that. I was like, yo, this is find his first, to have a ticket to his first game in Yankee Stadium. It's just, it was wild. So, but you can, what it is too. I noticed I have a Rizzuto ticket that his first World Series game, but on the older tickets, it doesn't say it. It just says the score. And some of the newer graded ones has Rizzuto's first World Series appearance. So especially with those, you can kind of look and be like, all right, can you just put this one instead of the old one? So they'll work with you. I think with tickets, they're very lenient because it's almost like an emotional attachment to someone. If you're grading a ticket, it's like, whatever you want on it. Not, it has to be reasonable, but I'm saying I think they're pretty much open to writing what you want if it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine there's probably people who have, family members that played in the majors, great grandfathers that probably hit eighth on the Red Sox or Yankees. And I imagine if you sent it to them and you want it, their stat line from that day on there, I would hope they would do it.
Yep.
But I always wondered that because I do see some tickets with some real odd, on the PSA slab, they'll have some weird. And I imagine I thought to myself, they had to have asked for that because I don't think they would just put that on their own. But that's good to know.
Yeah, they do. They're pretty open to that.
I wish SGC still did tickets, but they stopped doing them, I think. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
I had a whole stack I was going to send them, but I don't have time for PSA's games. I can't wait.
I know.
Back.
Let me ask you, that's a cool card. So like, what's some other oddball stuff from the, do you only collect, is there a cutoff point to like what year you collect or?
Not a set in stone cutoff point, but normally I stop at the 50s, but
Gotcha.
like that's one of those where I'll make an exception for the Koufax. That's a 63, but stuff like that, I'll dabble with the 60s oddball stuff.
That's cool. I love that stuff, man. Like, I don't know.
I love it so much.
Stuff other than like Topps 3D.
Yeah,
like,
the 60s I don't think had it. The 50s were fun. The 50s had a lot, but
what are some of the crazy oddball things in the 50s?
They have a lot of food issues. They have the Wilson Franks, Red Heart, which was a dog food. Dandy potato chips.
Yeah.
Potato chips.
If you want to count, I guess you could count Red Man, considering they're a little. I'd consider them oddball. There's a big one I'm missing. I can't think of it. I feel like. Oh shit!
This is one of my favorites.
Oh, dude.
Man.
I love it with the tabs on. They're hard to find.
Yeah, and this is a 7, man. Like that. These were tough to get in any type of grade.
Oh yeah, and you can find some reasonably priced high grade. Ooh.
It's kind of an oddball. I mean, the color on this is amazing.
The clouds in the background.
Oh man, and for it to be, it's just crazy that that's a big stamp. It's just crazy how that could, it boggles my mind that some crazy person had this card, this stamp, away for how long and just graded it one day. I mean, stuff like that. When I buy a card, I think of that stuff. I think of like, right? Like, was this in someone's like encyclopedia in the middle of it for like 30 years or where was this thing that it was able to be a 7, a stamp,
I think about it. Yeah, those golden stamps, I've had a couple raw of them. They're like loose leaf thin.
Yeah.
You can rip right through one of those. I don't understand how half of them make it in such good condition. I did realize though there's a lot of so those were issued in magazines, I believe. Like I think you cut them out. So I'm pretty sure there's a good amount of you can find a lot of the intact like booklets.
Oh yeah.
I have a couple buddies that actually have bought them, cut them up with, those things you cut paper with. I forget what they're called. Not the scissors.
Joe's the master. This guy, he cuts the panels. I don't even know how he does it. He's unbelievable with it.
I know people that have used those to cut, the whole panel out and send them off to grade and get 8s and 9s and flip them for just stupid money.
That's him right there.
Yeah.
It's scary. The older though, those get scarier when it gets older. Like it's one thing to cut box panels and stuff, which is fine. Even those are expensive sometimes to find ones in good condition. But the older, oh man, you get one shot at it. And the thing is with a lot of the box panels is that the truth is like I can get it perfect, but the cards around it are going to suffer. And like you have to be willing to do that because even like with a regular 80s box panel, like if you try to cut everything absolutely perfectly, you might, but it also may like, it's not going to get a 9 or an 8. You're going to get a weird grade if it's like, but if you're like, all right, well, whatever, Paul Molitor, I want Paul Molitor. So, Darrell Evans or whoever's next to him, his card, whatever, who cares? And use that as like one to be like, all right, closer, and then you get as close as you want, and you're good.
Yeah,
But when older cards, now we're talking. Joe has this old strip with like just legendary people, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to cut that because somebody's gonna,
Yo, this is like a 1930s. It has Rudolph Valentino's rookie on it. I sent it to PSA to just look at it, and they said they've never even seen a full strip. And they said there's like a limit to what they would grade, like, to what they could put in a holder. So I was like, you know what? I don't even want. I was like, no one probably even has this thing. It's just so cool that it's like, who cares about grading? And I could just have it right here and look at it.
You don't have to, that's one of those, you don't got to worry about it being fake.
Oh,
you would know. Yeah, that's one of those things where if you're happy with it, I don't need to slab it.
That's it. I can just check it out, look at it, and know it's just some unique card, unique thing that you might not see again.
Easier to display because sometimes they give you them big goofy slabs.
Oh,
you can't put them anywhere.
Totally.
Dylan, do you like only do baseball stuff, or are there older like boxing cards and like non-sports and stuff from that era? Because there's a lot of great stuff from that era. Like,
I do just baseball.
I'm pretty much too, but
I have dabbled. I've considered music cards here and there. I'm a big Johnny Cash fan, so I know he has some cards.
Johnny Cash.
I considered going after a few of his, but some of his I've noticed and Bob Dylan. He has a couple cool rookie cards that I've been eyeing up. But they're like two. If I was to dabble, it would probably be. They're two of my favorite artists. So I've been eyeing up some of their stuff here and there, but I don't own anything really besides baseball. I've sold it all off at this point. Just focus just on baseball.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of autographs. That was like when I first got back into the hobby. That was the big thing. Didn't matter what year you played. If you're a Hall of Famer, basketball, football, baseball, I was buying, just buying shit up, filling my room with it. And then one day I was like, that's not what I want. It's not the vision I started, curating in my mind. And I pretty much sold off like 100, 200 autographs. So just when I look back on it, it's crap to me. I'm happy I sold it all.
Hey, Dylan, when you like a set or you collect a set, are you just collecting certain cards from the set? Like you're not sitting there saying, I'm going to collect all the Hall of Famers, or I'm going to try to collect the whole set, or is it's just that you love the set and whatever cards in that set you go to your eyes, then you'll buy? Is it more that way?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can't build a set. I don't have the focus for it.
Yeah.
I'm always like, I don't know. I put up a tweet the other day, but I go through long spurts of, I'll go 6 months where all I care about is pre-war, dead ball era, stuff like that. And then one day I'm scrolling Twitter and I'm like, start seeing some Manals, some Mays, and I'm like right now I'm in the middle of a big 50s, 60s kick for no reason. I don't know why. But I got in the last couple of days I've gotten, I think I showed you the Koufax. This is autograph 53 Eddie Matthews I just picked up.
Wow,
that's a great card.
This is another. This came in today. 53 to 55 Dorman postcard Mickey Mantle.
Look at that! Look how beautiful that thing is.
225 for this.
Crazy.
In a 4.
Isn't it? Once the card leaves the standard format, now it's like cheaper. Like if it's small or a stamp or
that's
some.
What it is. People hate oversized cards, and I'll scoop them up all day for half the price of. If I wanted to get a 53 Mantle for a tops, their PSA 2 is like what? They're going for $1,500 or $3,000 or something. I've seen.
Look at this.
Yeah. Oh, the Maggio rookie.
Yep.
Is that the 36?
36 Chickle.
Bro, that's ridiculous, that card.
Yo, I picked this up in one of those REA auctions for like $575. And I know it's authentic, it has a little chip, but I'm like, yo, it like,
who cares?
And obviously because it's it's like it's not standard size, whatever, but it's, man, I was talking about Joe with this, like, I'm all about like first card, like first appearance. I love that. And I know some of the first appearance cards are not worth as much as, you have like, Ricky Henderson, some of his he's on, minor league teams and a lot of guys. I always search for the first. I don't know. It's just something I enjoy to have his first appearance. I know it's not flagship or nothing, but like something like this with Joe D, it's just like this is.
I'm the same way where people consider certain things rookies, and I can't do it. If you have a card, for example, Stan Musial, his 47 Bowman, or was it 48 Bowman?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is it 40? Yeah, it's 48.
48.
That's widely considered his rookie card, but he has cards dating back to what, the early 40s. They're rare. They're harder to find. They're expensive, but he's got cards in 47. He's got cards in 42. I think 40. They're oddball sets, but it's hard for me to look at a card from 8 years after his debut and say that's his rookie card.
Well, it's like the double play card with Rizzuto and I think Crissetti, and then that was 41.
Yeah.
And then his rookie's what, 48? I mean, whatever. So
yeah.
I mean, it's just like, what do you consider? I mean, he there's a card of him from a certain time. So if you don't want to consider, but if I do, then that we go back to like whatever you enjoy, right? No one can tell you, that's not his rookie. Well, it is his rookie to me, because whatever, I made it his rookie.
Like the other thing with me is the 52 tops, where people call Mantle and Mays, they'll consider that as rookie card. That drives me nuts.
Yeah, definitely not.
Bowman was, before tops, Bowman was the premier baseball card.
Yeah, and 51, the 51 Mantle is such a beauty. I'm not taking out the 52 Mantle is an amazing card. The set's gorgeous, but the 51 Mantle, the Bowman, that is such a great card, man. With those poles in the background, the blue sky, and the gray Yankees, like that card is unbelievable.
The piece of art.
52 out of the water, in my opinion.
And it's still cheaper. Like the crazy thing is, 52 tops. You're not getting one for under like 20 grand. That's like a 2 or 3. It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
Right? Like you see ones that are like people trying to get like 18 grand for and really beat up, But the 51, I feel like you could get one of those like in a pretty decent grade for like 25 G's or something. Not that I have that for around, but like if I did, I would totally.
I'll be snagging them up. There's going to come. Yeah,
the man's a rookie. That's it.
There's a day. I feel like there's a day coming where those are going to shoot up because people are getting priced out of them 52s now. Once you get priced out of them 52s, people are going to go, oh, well, this is his technical rookie card 51, and look how much cheaper it is. And then
I agree, man. It's a good point.
And that Mays rookie, the 51 Mays that you want, that's another unbelievable card, man. And the fact both are horizontal cards is like pretty fresh too,
Yeah, that's a conversation I have a lot where that people consider them 52s rookies, but it drives me nuts. Eddie Matthews is probably the only one you can make a case for from that set. That's a big time rookie, not in general, but how many was there? 3 big rookies in that set?
Hoyt Wilhelm is in that set.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
That might be his only, because I feel like he literally came out of like the army or the war or something, and I don't think he had oddball cards because he was 30. That's crazy.
He was older, yeah.
Hoyt Wilhelm became 30 and went to the Hall of Fame, played like 17 years, and was just a great pitcher, man.
Pitched like a zillion innings too.
Crazy.
Is there a Hall of Famer that you gravitate towards collecting more than any other?
Right now, pretty much Jackie, and I love Walter Johnson. He's a player I've been focusing on, doing my best to add more cards of. But my biggest single player PC actually has turned into Jackie, which is a surprise. Never thought I'd do that. This I grabbed at the National this year.
Such a card.
That's my favorite card of his. I'm not even gonna lie.
Pretty much set me off on the. I already had some Jackies, but once I had nabbed that, I was like, all right, I gotta. It's time for me to chase a decent PC. Since this past National last July, I've been snagging up. This I grabbed a few months back.
That's one of the 54. I love that.
This is one of the nicest 4s I ever seen too. I think it could have got like a 5.5, but
SGC, they are real tough on vintage.
off centered, but yeah, SGC is getting tougher and tougher. I
That's a
respect SA's handing out sixes on cards. That should be a 2 or 3 half the time. But
that's hard.
Oh, I got a question for you in terms of like what you look for in a card, like something like that. Like, are you more a centered card, or will you take some off center, but if it had great color, or are you just about the color of the card? Like, how do you work your way into a card, or is it just something you just see of the card and it's a one-on-one basis where?
yeah, I think I would say it depends. If we're talking rare pre-war stuff, I'm not picky on anything. 50s cards, I can live with a little bit off center. A lot of people I know prefer centering over sharp corners and stuff for registration, but like this is off center. I know a lot of people, like some people couldn't live with it, but I'm big on color and corners. I don't want a card that's round. I'll appreciate, those 50s cards that are perfectly dinged up. They look good. I'll throw some in a binder, but anything I want to display, I'm going sharp corners or fairly sharp corners, and I don't want the snow on the card that's big in the 55 set, or 57, maybe that's what it is. 58, 57. They have them snowy effect. That kind of drives me nuts. But yeah, I can live with some dinged up corners before you can barely see the image on the card.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not too picky. I don't like to I don't spend a lot of my own money on cards in terms of if I'm buying a big card, I'm using 80% of my money for cards I'm selling off. So
Yeah.
I don't have the leeway to just be the pickiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
I wish I did, but I'm picky with what I buy because I'm picky with what I want to sell. So it depends. Like it's a one-on-one basis. Though. Every card's different. My mood, it depends on my mood that day. It might just be, I can live with it. I'll buy it. Other days, I don't know. I'll just be like, certain things drive me nuts.
You can all
get it.
The Mini Minoso, it has a rookie in that set.
Okay,
This card is so off center. I mean, I just got it and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna slab it, and came back as a 2. But whatever. That's another Hall of Fame rookie in that set.
That I could live with. That doesn't even bother me.
Yeah, I love that set. It's I would generally take, like, I have some nice, I have a 65 Koufax. It's so dead centered, but the corners are like, the corner 60s, man. But it's like, it's a 3, but I'll take it over like a 7 that's like really off center and sharper, but
it always depends.
Maybe, I don't know. 7's high for a 65 Koufax. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean that I like, centering is important, obviously, and I think a lot of people would take centering over corners most of the time.
I think so. That's the vibes I've been getting with everyone I talk to. I was actually shocked to find out how many people hate off center cards.
Totally. That's why I asked you, because I feel the same way. I feel like from your thread, I grabbed like this Junior Gilliam. It was like so sharp and colorful, and it was like $10. And I'm like, no one even, if a card comes on your thread, like if it's really a good deal, it's gone, like that. And this thing was, I was up there like 2 hours later looking, and I was like, nobody wants this card. Like what? Like, am I crazy? It wasn't even that. Matter of fact, I have it right here.
That might have been posted by was that posted by like CLB, Chris, the guy Chris? It was a 54.
54. Oh, awesome.
Like, look at this. I mean, look at the color on this card. It's like, and it's so sharp. But yeah, I get it. It's off center, but like, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's like, for me, it's like, I'm not even looking at the centering at this point with this card.
Not at all. And when you consider how good he was as a player and his history in the game, I don't know why his cards are so cheap, but
agreed.
I love Junior Gilliam cards. I'll snag them up here and there all the time, raw for, like you said, $5-6.
Yeah,
for a fairly
so clean. Look how clean his back is.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, this thing looks like packed. It's like packed fresh. This car. I'm not even kidding.
Dude, 54 is such a nice set. When I was a kid, I went to a garage sale with my uncle, and he knew I was collecting cards, and he found a shoebox filled with 54 Bowman. Pretty good shape. And at the bottom was this. My first mantle, I got this when I was a kid. It's destroyed, bro. But
it's incredible.
PSA abused this card too. They actually caused that little rip. I have pictures of it before I sent it in. But whatever. It
happens, but
yeah, I got like I don't know, maybe 80 cards out of the 54 Bowman set. Most of them are not Hall of Famers. I do have a Mini Minoso and that mantle. I don't have the Williams. Most of the other, but it's a really great set too, man. Great background. I love Bowman. That was like amazing. What an amazing company! Like it was just doing so many cool things back then.
Yeah, they had probably. I mean, you could put it up there with Topps, but I think they had like the greatest 6-year run between 48 and 54, 55. That was like the greatest 8-year run. And
yeah, those cards.
You could give Topps the credit of 52, 53, maybe through 56, but 57's give or take. But I'll take that 6-7 year run from Bowman over anyone else.
Yeah,
just perfect sets every year.
Yeah, and they kept their style. It's interesting. If you look at I was gonna do a video about this one time on my YouTube. Like if you look at 52 Topps and then 53, it's different, but there are a lot of things the same. The way it's set up on the bottom, the box, and then 54 is also kind of like 53, but then 55 and 56 are very similar.
Yeah,
and then 7's totally weird to me. 58 is an aberration. It's like 1990 Topps or 1975 Topps, and 59 I love. 59 Topps, amazing. But
I love
the way it changes. Like Bowman, they just did little subtle things like between 51 and 52. It's like, oh, it's almost like you look quick. You have to know which one has the nameplate. But just a great style, man. The style of those cards, they all had like a theme. Where I love the top stuff from that era. It's some amazing sets, but like the Bowman just had more of like this kind of general feel of a theme that was like, I don't know, more uniform than Topps. Topps more.
I think them early, I don't know if it makes sense, but them early Bowmans, they give you that like more of that ballpark feel. You can look half them, you get them beautiful backdrops of the stadium, different angles, different stadiums where 52 and 53, they're all close-up headshots. Where 53, you get the good, like I was saying, you do get the good skies and stuff, but
57 had like really good photography. The cards weren't all that in terms of like the look, but the photography was pretty fresh.
Yeah, that's the year. 57's the year cards got bigger, right? Or smaller, I mean. I think 57.
Came back, they went to the standard size.
Now they're still that size today, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know 56 and back, they're that little bit bigger, which is annoying for top loader purposes and binder purposes. But yeah, I love but I do agree with those 52, 53. They have that very similar, pretty much the same, but they changed a few small things. But
yeah,
I'll take Bowman. I will take Bowman over them. I had a PC of just like that was like one of my PCs for a while. It was just beautiful looking early Bowman cards, or just any year.
I have a lot of nice vintage cards in boxes, man. I got to like put them up. I got to get them out and look at them more because
that's another reason that pushed me to sell things. If I didn't have room to display it, in my mind, I'm like, if I have it in a box, it's not doing me any good. So
that's why I got this show you slabs. These guys are cool, man. I wanted something like where I have stuff in my office and different things, but like I was like, you know what, this is fun because you could take them out. You could just pull them out at any time. So I was like, you know what, I need something where at least I have majority of them out there that I could just move around. You get a new one, you put one back, you get tired of looking at one, you move it around. I mean, but yeah, if you just have them stored in a box, then it's like, yeah, I have them, but it's like, who the hell? It's just like, becomes like an annoyance. Me and Joe always talk about that. We're like, yo, what are we gonna do? You have cards. Like, where am I gonna? I need to see them, especially the ones I love. I need to see them. Like, that's why I bought them, to see them. You know, it's like buying a pair of sneakers, but you never wear them. You know, it's like, well, what's the point? Like, what are you just gonna put them in the closet? It doesn't make
Just
sense.
to say I have it.
Yeah.
Displaying, that's like half my fun with everything. If I couldn't display my cards, I don't even know if I would. I probably wouldn't even collect to the extent I do.
Well, you go to the next level to post. You know, the way you do it, man, it looks so fresh. You could make a older card that's beat up look like it's worth 50 grand. You know, you really do a good job with that.
Thank you. That means a lot, man. That's like, that's my stress relief. You know, if I'm ever stressed or pissed off, I'll come down here and I'll rearrange my shelf, take some pictures and stuff, and that's how I get level headed again.
Right with you. I mean, sometimes it's just a getaway from everything. You know, you could be a kid again, and it's it's just the beauty of it. You know, it's just it's something like you said. You know, you could going through cards. You know, sometimes even finding a card you forgot you had that you bought months ago, or putting stuff on your desk and you didn't open it for a while, and going through the cards. Like, I mean, that's. And then the best is to like find a card from like your childhood or something, or like, oh, I remember when I got this. So like, you know, me and Joe always talk about that. Like through the pandemic, you know, I went through all my old cards and I found a Jordan that I had in the top load, like his second year. And like, I was like, wow, like I really kept this card. Like this was a childhood card, and I graded it with PSA. It was an 8. So like, even though like I don't collect a lot of basketball, like that card is like, it was a card I picked out of a pack, and it ended up being in great condition, and like, you know, so like stuff like that is like sentimental value too.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's the stuff where card could be worth $2, but you keep that pack pull card from when you were 10 years old that you loved. You can't even sell it if you wanted to.
Joe, don't you have something that one of those, like something that was one of your first card, like a first vintage card or something like that? Didn't you have something like that?
Well, I got my 84 Mattingly. You know, when you're a kid, everybody was like,
right,
yeah, cards are mint. I got mint, it's mint, whatever. We didn't know what mint was, but this one was actually mint. I sent it to Pete. It was in back in those days, man. I don't remember top loaders. Like literally, I had this thing that went down. Joe, you know what I'm talking about?
It was like a clamp thing.
Like a clamp. I don't remember. I could be, No, it was like this thing that like it looked like, just imagine like a U of plastic that was like that, and you put the card in, boom, and it really, it held the.
I've seen those. Yeah, I've gotten cards in those. Yeah.
So yeah, that was really what it was about. So I had it in that, and then when I started collecting again, I was like, oh, this is a nice card. I put it aside, and then when I started to grade cards, it was actually after I started grading cards, but I did it like maybe a year and a half ago, and I subbed it, and it came back in 9, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like I really had a 9, and it's a Mattingly rookie. Mattingly's was my one of my idols growing up. So to have the card from then,
priceless.
Sentimental joints. You'll never get rid of that card. Like, just there's no way. There's no way.
As it should be.
Oh.
Hey, brother, we do this thing called Quarter Classics. I don't know if you have one, but any card, you have a card laying around that really is not worth anything, maybe much, but it's something that it just sticks to you. You know, we kind of do this thing. So if you have something, anything.
I'm going to, let me dig through my catcher binders here, because that's where the good ones are.
Oh, that's right. You do have some legendary catcher.
Give me a sec here if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Find a good one. Go to the 52 set.
Yeah, I'll go first. I
Yeah,
didn't even know this existed. I'm a huge hip hop head from the 90s. I did not know Biz Markie had a Topps card throwing out the first pitch for the Oakland Athletics. I was like, yo, when I saw this, I was like, you learn, that's what's great about the hobby is like you learn shit every day. Like this exists. Like, I mean, it doesn't happen that much with baseball as much as it does with like non-sports cards and shit like that. But like, I couldn't believe Biz had a card. Like, I was like,
is that from opening day, Joe?
So yeah, this is from like 2016. I think he had a card. I think 50 Cent might have had a card too, but it was like,
Oh wow.
I never knew it existed though.
That's cool, man.
Here's a cool one, I guess. This because I remember. This is I think this is 62 Bell brand or something like that. I actually won this on eBay for like $1 one day.
What?
Which isn't, I mean, it's beat the shit, but that's one of those little wins that you get that.
Look at that.
That is cool.
I think these
That's
were
great.
potato chips or cookies, I believe. I forget.
Me and Joe always talk about those type. I mean, I'm a sucker for those cards, and like we collect wrestling, like older wrestling cards too. And there's some crazy like off-brand, crazy stuff that like a lot of the baseball stuff is more known, but there's some wrestling stuff that like people don't even know even still exists. But those off-brand cards always get me, man.
They're always great. Yeah, they're another one of those where I'll go through spurts. I'll Google. I'll hit eBay up on the late night and I'll just scroll for a few hours and find them late auction steals, throw in $1 bid, and you get lucky sometimes. That was one of those where I bid $1 and no one else bid on it, and I was like, I'll take it.
That's the best. What do you got, Joe?
Actually, this is a pretty cool card. It's a 94 Pinnacle Museum collection. Like, so when you got this box, you might hit the museum collection parallel, which is really nice, but this is the redemption card from there. I got this in a box at a show recently for like whatever, throw-in card. But it's cool though, it's like, and that's a nice redemption, right? Like that's a cool looking redemption card.
You don't look like that anymore.
I got one now.
Yeah. Compared to now, they just give you a piece of paper with
writing on it. You're not even going to read.
Yeah.
And a scratch.
But Dylan, man, thank you so much, bro. This was a pleasure. Awesome to talk about vintage and everything. And we have a lot of collecting habits in common. So that's really cool. I had a great time.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And it was awesome. And yes, sir, man. I know time's the most valuable thing people have. You give us, an hour of your time, talk about cards for us. It's great. So thank you, sir. Much
Thank you. I'm always down to talk cards. So it was an honor.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you guys around Twitter and.
Oh, you know it.